savumelana, savumelana, savumelana,
since the mid-1800s, and this is based on data from across the world. And the speed at which the Earth is warming is.
Bluetooth mode.
Sizamukwenza a moment of silence. Namhlanje, the 29th of November, is 10 years since the promulgation of the Golden Standards. But what is also happening, because social injustice. But what is also happening is that globally, so across the world, Makabani, abantu abafana nawe nami who are concerned about the social justice and human dignity are standing together to show solidarity, the ongoing solidarity to the people of Palestine. So ndiyafuna sithathe Makabani noba yi 60 seconds sijoge ezantsi and remember those equalizers that we spoke about that are now in Gaza. And remember the families of abantu bafana nathi, young children in Palestine fighting for their existence. And showing solidarity to every South African or person living in South Africa that would be outside namhlanje, benikeza the solidarity to the people of Palestine. So just taking a moment of silence, please. Mandla. Free Palestine, free Palestine. Free Palestine, free Palestine.
Free Palestine, free Palestine.
Viva solidarity, viva.
Viva!
Viva solidarity, viva.
Viva!
And go see me, comrades. You can spend some time just looking in social media and what other people are doing and supporting that struggle as well. I'm trying to stand in a way.
Bluetooth mode.
Okay. These are amakabane that are going to support us doing the thing as easily up. And it we have an open letter. The open letter amakabane from a normal letter that you send to the post. Because it belongs to everyone or interested for education justice. gate last year told us to leave. So there is still no political will to meet the norms and standards that they signed into law. There is still no political will to prioritize ring-fence money to fix the problem of infrastructure in our schools. There is still no commitment to meet the fact that 81% of our learners, our siblings, Tina, cannot read for meaning in grade 4. Because yeah, we're like, so it's fine. Okay, positive. I'm struggling with all of my feminisms now. But I just want to call the people of us to read the open letter. We made a commitment, that this letter we're not reading to ourselves because we wrote it. We're reading it to the Department of Education. The officials are here outside taking videos and photos of us. It's an exciting day at work today. We are reading it so that our civil society and our sector can galvanize behind us in the struggle for education justice. And we're reading it for every South African that supports this work. We're reading it for school governing bodies across the country that are struggling to make sure they budget and do the things that it needs to do. And we're reading it for the future of these scholars there in Okela going to Matabani. We've got marshals at the back, as we normally do when we are in actions like this. But two governments told us not to come here today. So if anything happens, we must just make sure that we listen to the marshals at the back. See, I'm sorry, can I? Okay. Whatever makes you move your spirits.
Open letter to the Department of Basic Education. Agents needed to address the school infrastructure backlog as school back to on 10 years of failure to meet the deadline set out in the norms and standards of public school infrastructure. Dear Minister Motshekga, we write to you as a collective of deeply concerned civil society organizations. We express our utmost disappointment that despite the passage of 10 years since you issued regulation relating to minimum uniform norms and standards of public school infrastructure, many infrastructure conditions have not improved. Learners in under-resourced townships and rural at most schools are the most impacted by the failure in eradicating backlogs rationally. This regulation guarantees the essential infrastructure required for public schools to operate efficiently. Since the regulation includes precise timeframes for infrastructure delivery, learners and school communities are guaranteed certain facilities and service at particular times. The Department of Basic Education, committed to replacing all school infrastructure of inappropriate materials, including mud, asbestos, zinc, and wood, and to provide school with electricity, running water, and a proper sanitation facilities by 2016, along with enough classrooms, electricity, running water, and functional toilet facilities. You also promised to supply schools with electricity, connecting telephones and internet, the perimeter security by November 2020. You also committed to providing schools with labs and libraries by November 2023.
Due to the complete failure of national and provincial education departments, the pledges made regarding these deadlines have not been fulfilled. It is unacceptable that 10 years after the law's passage, the national and provincial education departments have continuously neglected to properly implement and abide by it, leaving school communities to contend with deplorable conditions daily. You will remember, Honorable Minister, an unsuitable title for the department that you are, that it is required a great deal of lobbying and court battles to convince you to approve the regulations. Equal education activists marched and picketed, petitioned, wrote countless letters to the minister, went door to door in communities to garner support for the campaign, and even spent nights fasting and sleeping outside of Parliament. When you finally signed the regulations into law in 2013, it was a historical triumph because it set the foundation for guaranteeing that all learners in South Africa, regardless of race or socio-economic status, could attend schools with the necessary facilities. Despite this hard-fought victory for learners and school communities, we are greatly disappointed that education departments have not met any of the commitments and deadlines set in the regulations.
Honorable Minister, we would like to raise some of the serious repercussions arising from your department disregard for the law, the constitution regarding the learners and school communities. When the regulations were passed in 2013, the Sanitation Appropriates for Education initiative, and we will do so in the absence of prompt decision action. We note in particular that 728 schools, I repeat, 728 schools across the Eastern Cape, Limpopo and KwaZulu-Natal still rely on pit toilets as their form of sanitation. Do you regard that as dignity to these learners? No. Are you doing justice to these learners? No. It is no secret that many of the country public schools still need basic infrastructure and services for conducive learning and teaching environment. Despite clear need for relief, the school sector has been facing a poly-crisis characterized by resources, infrastructure, and learning deficiencies. Education departments have consistently missed key targets, including those for libraries and laboratories by 2023, as well as those set for 2020 and 2016. It is alarming to discover that 82% of schools do not have laboratories, while 74% of our public schools lack library. And those ones that do have libraries often are inadequately stocked. This is happening in a country where 81% of children cannot read for meaning in any language by the age of 10. School libraries are crucial for establishing and promoting an encouraging environment for children to develop a love for reading. Accessing this infrastructure is therefore vital as having these learning resources.
The consistent failures to meet the deadlines in the regulations not only represent missed opportunities to address the historic backlogs, endangering the lives and future of learners, but also missed chances to improve learning outcomes in the sector. We believe that the missed deadlines and targets, along with the sluggish pace of infrastructure development, point to a lack of political will and urgency in addressing the most fundamental and winnable problems facing the industry. For a long time, lack of funding has been cited as the reason for the provincial and national departments of basic education's failure to achieve targets and plans. Particularly regarding school infrastructure, it needs to take responsibility for its spending problem that leads to poor service delivery. Even funding for basic education is insufficient to address the numerous issues. Both national and provincial education departments are notorious for irregular, wasteful and fruitless spending. In addition to the department's failure to meet their obligations in terms of their norms and standards, we have identified a significant data issue within the department, which together with spending inadequacies has the potential to severely impact the provision of services to school communities. Before the discontinuation of the National Education Infrastructure Management System reports, public data on infrastructure backlogs was frequently inconsistent with current realities. Insufficient and accurate public data on school infrastructure not only hinders civil society's ability to hold education officials accountable, but suggests that departments do not know the true extent of the crisis they are meant to address. While we acknowledge the department's recent publication of its education facility management report, we urge the department to provide updated and properly audited information through this report.
Adequate school infrastructure is a critical component of the full enjoyment of the right to basic education, an immediately realizable right that requires proactive measures for its progressive realization. Persistent infrastructure backlogs not only infringe on learners' constitutional rights to basic schooling, they threaten the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal for target of free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education for all girls and boys, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes by 2030. Given the concerns we have raised above, we demand that, firstly, national and provincial education departments urgently fulfill their legal obligations in terms of the norms and standards for public school infrastructure and they eradicate infrastructure backlogs to ensure school communities are safe and conducive for teaching and learning. Secondly, national and provincial treasuries prioritize and provide adequate infrastructure funding as well as ensure efficient spending by education departments, implementing agents and contractors involved in infrastructure provisioning in schools. Lastly, the Department of Basic Education should conduct a thorough audit of schools to ascertain the true extent of the infrastructure crisis across the country for better planning project, delivery and monitoring. We demand the backlogs to be eradicated. Ngoku amandla!
That was very powerful. Yeah. If people that are watching on the lives and that are trying to find us, Namhlanje, please find this letter on all of our social media platforms. You can also look at the social media platforms of Section 27, the Legal Resources Center, the Center for Child Law, the Right to Protest, Equal Education Law Center, and of course this beautiful and bad social movement led by young people. I just want to welcome comrades that are coming from the organizations we wrote this letter with to share short reflections about what does it mean to be 10 years later to the promulgation of this law. So, Comrade Debbie, please come through. All comrades that will be speaking on behalf of the organizations. Come through, my God. Colleagues, I don't know.
Wow, Ibrahim.
Even you today, you are comrades. Well, always, hopefully. So I'm going to hand over. We will have someone from EE also reflect at the very end. Yeah? After these reflections, we've done our part outside the DBE. Is that fine?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm from Section 27, and today Section 27 is proud to be standing with EE on the 10th anniversary of the norms and standards. It's a good day because we have law that binds the government to fulfill certain promises. 10 years ago, there was blood, sweat and tears to get these laws promulgated and published. And on this day, 10 years ago, they were published and they weren't perfect, but they were a promise. A promise that our most vulnerable learners would get assistance, that schools would no longer have pit latrines, that they would have proper buildings, that there would be classrooms that were safe for learners to learn in. There were promises that by this year there would be enough libraries, and yet today we stand here outside the DBE knowing that promises have not been fulfilled. We know that progress reports have not been consistent. We've had to beg the department to update their websites so that we can see the information from provinces. We know that at the end of this year, the DBE plans to bring out amended norms and standards that take away all their time frames within which they were supposed to meet school infrastructure. So today we celebrate the norms, but it is a sad day because the department has not fulfilled its promises. So yeah, we stand together with EE today in solidarity, and we call upon the Department of Education for greater transparency, for greater accountability, that they start fulfilling these promises. Thank you.
Amandla! Awetu! Amandla! Comrades, I don't want to talk long because we're tired of hearing the same thing and we're tired of saying the same thing. You know, for a long time, civil society has engaged in, what do they call it, budget tangos. We want to talk about money, but we are tired of that. We are tired of hearing about provincial allocation, ton, and we are tired of listening. Every excuse for the past decade has been budget. You know, many years ago, the highest court in South Africa said that education, basic education, is a unique socio-economic right because it is immediately realizable. And yet we have a government department that thinks legal obligations are suggestions. Very problematic. And the language of Section 29, which refers to basic education, is written with urgency. It is constitutional lyricism at its best. And all we're asking is for a government department to hit the right notes, which they never do. The norms and standards weren't promulgated to make our legal framework look sexy. It is not there for decoration, it is there out of necessity. It is as a result of consistent and persistent advocacy. We picketed, we petitioned, we marched, we wrote letters, we had engagements, we went to court. What more must we do? What more must we do? So today I say, after 10 years of unfulfilled promises, I won't accept being called reactionary. I won't accept being called unrealistic. Today we park our realism, we put it one side. Today we say, you have a constitutional obligation. Go find the money. I don't care where you find it. Otherwise, you will see us at your door every single year. Amadla!
Movement lawyers.
Just come closer though.
I am from the Bookery, and the Bookery is started as a campaign, an EE campaign. I heard you say one chair, one learner. We started as one school, one library assistant. So as the Bookery, we stand in solidarity with you guys because it is important that each and every school has a library in its premises. We understand the importance of kids having access to books because now we sit with a problem whereby 81% of learners can read. And we understand that that is also a reason that they do not have libraries in their school. So we are happy to stand in solidarity with you guys and to connect with equal education because we understand the importance of advocacy. We understand that what you guys did 10 years ago is still relevant today, and we shall continue supporting and aligning ourselves in ensuring that government takes accountability and actually implements all the norms and standards that it has taken. We thank you and we support you. One school, one library assistant.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tukulu Modweng. I'm from the Legal Resources Center. I think many of you will know that this has been a very long journey. It's been a hard journey. We say 10 years, but I think for most people that have been there from the beginning, 10 years is just not a number. You know, it's people's lives, it's people's time, it's, you know, the equalizers, all the equalizers that have come and gone over the 10 years. Some of them are now grown up children, and you know, it's been a very, very long journey. So for us, from the lawyer side, it's also been a long journey through the courts. As you will know, in 2013, we had to take the minister to court to promulgate regulations to give effect to a right that is in our constitution. You know, that is already shocking. The fact that we had to take the minister to court to establish this is shocking in and of itself. 3 years later, in 2016, we had to go back to say the regulations that you have promulgated are not sufficient. They're invalid. They are inconsistent with the Constitution, with the Schools Act, and with the 2013 court order. And 6 years or 7 years after 2016, we are here standing in front of the DBD's offices. So we just want to say it's been a long journey. It's been tough. But as many of you will know, even if we get victories in court, there's a lot that needs to be done outside of court to ensure that the right to basic education is realized. And we commend EE, we commend all the other organizations, and it has been very fulfilling to see all organizations come together for this fight. We need civil society activists, we need lawyers, we need musicians, we need artists, we need everyone to come together to say learners' rights to basic education has been infringed for the past 10 years. And today, 29th of November 2023, their rights are still being infringed. Tomorrow morning when we wake up, their right to basic education enshrined under Section 29(1) of the Constitution is still not fulfilled. So I just want to say I commend EE and let the battle and let the fight continue. Thank you.
There's one last thing that we must say before we leave the department. I know it's hot. We're going to get out of the sun now, comrades. Eh? We all know that the law is being amended at the moment. And the biggest issue all of the organizations here have with amendment is that it is taking out the timelines from the law. Yeah, Vagan? Government now is saying, of course we'll fix the schools. Yeah, when? And so we are urging South Africans, we're urging departments of education at province, at national, we're urging all government departments, in fact, that are concerned with the lives of children in South Africa, to compel the Department of Basic Education to keep the timelines in the law. Keep the timelines in the law. Amanda. Away. Amanda. Pambili, fix our schools. Pambili. Foreign two, fix our schools. Foreign two. Viva equal education, viva! Viva! Viva equalizer, viva! Viva! Viva Mzali, viva! Viva! Amanda! Away to Amanda! Thank you very much, comrades. This is how we end our walk. We're going to try and find a place with the shade, and we're going to sit in small groups. We'll go through the letter together, and we'll wait for our food and our transportation and head home. Is that fine? But excuse me. That's it. Over to you, comrades. Thank you very much, and onwards to your struggle.
JD, can you please take me? I can even feel right, comrades. You're turning pink now. Did you have the sunscreen? Did you take the sunscreen?
I'm still too white, man.
Can I stop the live and take videos? Or you want me to carry on? So maybe. Jade, can you take this one? Like that?
Today we are standing outside, né? Yes. The next time we come to the TV show, we are occupying their offices. We are going to show them how is it to learn in an overcrowded class. Teaching and learning is being disrupted by those conditions. We are going to bring those conditions inside the So we are tired of coming outside each and every time, handing out memorandum, being signed, and let's remember something. These comrades are not even comrades. These government officials here have an obligation and a constitution. It's not a promise, comrade. It's an obligation. It's a must do. Right? And learners are subjected to conditions that are very poor. And yet we are expecting the best out of learners each and every day. So that right must be realized through them fulfilling that obligation. So next time we come to the DBE, but about that, you won't even get time to learn.
JD? As I save it on the highlights. So just cancel it.